Today we are gonna be practicing some, well, questionable beekeeping practices. Well, at the end of last episode, we set up our draconic bees right over here. We got into some bee stuff, and wow, it's only been a couple days, but this thing's been going crazy. I really should have set up storage for it so it actually could have been doing something, but yeah, this is what we're gonna be doing today. We're gonna be getting into some more bees. I've got all of our nests in my backpack / in my inventory. Some of them require you to be in certain areas, some of them don't. So we're gonna do the ones that we can do pretty much anywhere first, right? So I've got all of pretty much the overworld nests here. And let's say hey to Flippy. And yeah, we're going to get all of our overworld nests done, and then we'll head over to the end of the Nether. We've only got a little bit to do in the end. We've got a few that we'll need out of the Nether. I hope that y'all know how this goes. I'm going to get a whole bunch of honey treats, and I'm going to spam these things just like this. And I think that we should be able to get all of these items. Nest is empty. What do I have to use on a gravel nest? Gravel nest is going to require honey treats, but does it have to be, must be placed on a river or beach biome. Okay, so these are the ones that I can do anywhere. So we're going to wait on those, and then we'll move on to the next area. Probably go to a river so that we can get the reed bees and maybe the water bee. So now we've got all of the base bees. I put them in a chest over in the base over there. We've got all of the base bees that we can get in any biome. So now we're over here in a river biome. The base is like right there, super close. But all I'm going to do is try and get a couple more bees. We want to get, matter of fact, I don't even know if I need to use the gravel one. I don't think I do. I think I just need to get the reed bee. We're going to need to get the reed bee, and then we'll also have to get a fishing rod out to try and get a water bee. So that's one that's going to be kind of interesting because they actually come out mad at you. So immediately they want to attack. So you have to be kind of careful with those ones. But here should be, that is a mason bee. I've already got one of those. And I'm just going to sit here and do this until I get one of the reed bees. Now we are going to go for the sweat bee, which is funnily enough gotten through a snow nest in an ice biome, and I'm not sure what the item is for it. It says it's a honey treat, and it says we're in a frozen ocean, but apparently frozen ocean is not cold enough, so we gotta find somewhere colder, I guess. It's looks like maybe we can use this taiga. Let's try that. Maybe this counts as a cold biome. I'm not really sure what it wants. Yeah, it looks like this works. I'm not sure why the frozen ocean didn't work. Now, here's the nice thing about slime bees. If you're lucky, you'll find them just flying around the swamp, which is pretty nice, and we really only need one. We may go ahead and grab a couple just in case. But yeah, I mean, there's just a slime nest hanging out right there. It looks like there's got to be at least one more bee floating around somewhere. Yep, there's one right there. Let's go ahead and grab that guy. Here we go. Is there any more? No, there's a spawner right here. Or something. Chests. Nothing useful, but still cool. So yeah, that's the easy way to get the slime bees, is just come to a swamp. You gotta come here anyways. And they'll just usually kind of be hanging around somewhere. So that is now all of our overworld bees. You can see that we've got everything except for the water bee, which is one that I mentioned earlier is a little tough to get. But we are going to want to get that as it's used for some different bee breeding that we're going to do down the line. But let's go ahead and get the easy ones, the nether ones, and the last one, the end one. And the good thing is, with the nether bees, I believe that we can do them all right in here. I don't think they're biome specific or anything like that. Let's just verify that real quick. So you're going to need the glowstone for the glowstone nest, gas tears for the soul sand nest, nether quartz for the quartz nest, and magma cream for the nether brick nest. I did forget about one nest here. It's the nether gold nest, so I'm going to go ahead and get that bee. Should just be this gold bee right here. Pretty easy to get. We could have just bred up a gold bee from a mason bee and a crystalline bee, but figure we might as well go ahead and get one straight out of the nest, because why not? And the last bee we're going to need here is going to be the ender bee, which is going to take some pop chorus fruit into an endstone nest, and it should take about the same amount of time as all the other bees. And here in just a second, we should see our ender bee pop out. Now these ender bees can be a bit of a pain because they actually are able to teleport. So you actually need an upgrade for their nest. Whenever you put them into a actual hive, you're going to need an upgrade because They will teleport around on you, but thankfully you can get rid of that, like I said, with an upgrade. I can't remember what it's called. Anti-teleportation upgrade, maybe? But it is a little bit annoying having to deal with those if you don't have that upgrade. Now it's time to actually get our bees set up, and in order to do that, we're going to be using a little bit of Super Factory Manager, also known as SFM. Now this mod is really cool for stuff like this, right? So I'm going to go ahead and extend this all the way to the edge of my little compact machine here with these inventory cables. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a factory manager right here on this inventory cable. Now this thing is pretty cool, right? So you get some examples, right? Now we want just a simple program, input from, output to, right? So I'm going to just go ahead and Control A and copy that, right? Now missing disk, what does that mean, right? So we're going to have to go to Super Factory Manager. We're gonna need a factory program disk, right? So I'll go ahead and make those, everything that we need there. Now I should be able to put that in there, and now we can go edit, right? So every 20 ticks, we can probably deal with that for now. Every 20 ticks, we're gonna say input into our Super Factory system. We're gonna input from hive, right? And then we're going to output to centrifuge. Then we're going to also input from centrifuge. I can spell it right. Output to dimensional chest, which is going to be right in front of our little chest right here, right in front of our factory manager. So go ahead and do like that. You don't have to backspace all of that. You can have all of that stuff, but there's our dimensional chest right there. So anything in there should get pulled into here. If I did that correctly, which maybe I didn't. Oh, I have to actually set my labels, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift right click to pull the labels. All right, centrifuge. Those are our centrifuges. Dimensional chest right there. Hive, we've only got one for now, so I'm going to go and right click on that. There we go, push labels. So now you see we've got draconic combs in there. We've got draconic combs in there. Now all we've got to do is actually give these guys some power, which we're going to do simply just a ender gate. I'm going to go ahead and give them nitro ones because we're going to be boosting these things eventually with the soul surge stuff and whatnot. So you want them to be nice and quick. So we'll go ahead and put lots of power into them. And there we go. There is going to be our draconic dust, draconic combs, and everything should end up in here. Now, this is a problem, right? We're getting all of this random stuff going into here. That's not what we want. So I changed up our code a little bit here. What I did is I added a couple different things here. I added another line right here, right? So this is a separate thing right here. So it's inputting the items from the centrifuge and then outputting them to the dimensional chest. I think the way that should work is that that input is separate from this one, so you don't end up with the combs in your dimensional chest. Now the other thing I added was this output comb to centrifuge, right? Because what that does is it's called a regex tag. The star comb says that anything with comb in its name will get sent to the powered centrifuge. So later on down the line, whenever we are making draconic comb blocks instead of draconic combs, it'll still input those into our centrifuges and everything will still run correctly. And now all we're doing is our output items, our draconic dust, our pollen puffs, and our wax to our dimensional chest, which is going to end up getting hooked into our drawer network. At this point, now that we've got all of our base bees, we're pretty much ready to start the bee breeding process. So I have a few over here marked that I'm going to go for. I think the lowest one we can probably go for is maybe this redstone bee. So we've got a chocolate mining bee and a glowing bee. The setup that I've got right here is going to allow me to breed basically 3 different types of bees at one time, or make 3 of the same bee at one time if I decide to do it that way. And then it's going to come into these baby incubators here, and all of these I do have speed upgrades in. That way it's not just super slow, because it is if you don't put the speed upgrades in. Now what I'm going to end up doing is having these pipe out into a chest somewhere. Probably just put one right here and have those pipe out into that. That way basically all of my babies will go into the incubators. They'll get grown automatically using these honey treats. I've pumped a bunch of those into this oak drawer. And then those will get, once they're fully adults, they'll get pumped into a chest here that I can use for other things such as squishing or using them in our hives here. So I'm going to go ahead and show y'all how we do these breeding, and then I'm going to do a bunch of breeding on my own. It's pretty simple. Basically, chocolate mining bee, and then your glowing bee, and then there's your redstone bee. You give it some flowers. I've got rose bushes because you can bone meal them to get a bunch more of them, so they're super easy and renewable. And then it's just going to give me a redstone bee. Now, I do have to provide this with a bee cage, so I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple stacks of bee cages here. And we'll just throw half a stack in there for now. Half a stack in there, half a stack in there. And once this gets me a redstone bee, that one will get pumped into here like I said, and then it'll get grown into a fully grown adult redstone bee. So one thing we're going to need for our bees is these, at least these speedier upgrades, which require the hearts of the sea. Now they're also going to be required down the line for the omega upgrade, which I have talked about earlier. We don't have unobtainium yet, so we're not going to be able to get that just quite yet, but we will be able to get these speedier upgrades. So what we're going to do is try and automate these hearts of the sea. I managed to get enough stuff to be able to make the squid seeds and the fish seeds. So I've got a soul extractor right here, and the way this thing works is basically I put this soul jar in, and I can place in some ink sacs, and it's going to fill that guy right on up, and that's going to give me a full squid soul jar. Now you can also fill these up with simply going and killing squids with, I believe, the Solium dagger in your hand. And there are enchantments to make it a little bit better. I'm not gonna lie, I stole some essence from our farming district to be able to afford to do this. And it's been pretty awesome having everybody on the server kind of helping each other out. So that farming district has definitely been a huge hand in me being able to afford to do some of the essences and whatnot. One little trick that I wanted to show y'all that I actually learned from watching Lashmac like yesterday or today is that once you've got all of your stuff in your altar here, if you place a block of redstone next to it, you don't actually have to use your little wand thing. It'll just make it automatically whenever you place the seed in. So one thing I wish I had done way sooner is add some beehives in the dark over here. Because honestly, we're going to have a waiting game here for these. We're trying to get skeletal bees, which these skeletal bees, it says, be sure to keep your hives well lit to prevent this guy from moving in. The species cannot breed amongst themselves. So basically, place down some hives in the dark and hope for the best. So that's kind of what I did over here. I just dug out a little area. I used F7 to do this where you can see where mobs can spawn. So I just went ahead and did that. And I'm just going to place down several of these to hopefully fast track the process of getting a couple of these skeletal bees, because we're going to need those. You can turn them into withered bees, and those withered bees, super easy. You can just breed them up with an ancient bee, which we're already going to have here momentarily, and you can get yourself an Allthemodium bee. So hopefully soon, once we get these skeletal bees, we'll be able to get some Allthemodium bees. So the first bee we're going to need here in order to get that Allthemodium bee outside of that skeletal bee obviously was to get an ancient bee. Now all we have to do with that, take a diamond bee, place that guy down, and crash the server. Well, hopefully your server doesn't crash. I'm not sure why mine did, but we're gonna give this another shot. I'm gonna try it not in the compact machine. Maybe that'll help. I'm not really sure. Let's spawn this diamond bee and grab ourselves a netherite bee. There we go. Ancient bee, sorry. But yeah, there we go. So there's your ancient bee. I'm not sure why doing it in a compact machine seems to crash the server, but yeah, okay. So don't convert your bees in a compact machine, I guess. And just like that, it's been about a month since the last clip. I went on a trip and it's been a month. I'm back home now, so we're getting back in the swing of things. I did set up those netherite or the ancient bees. I set up the squishing thing over there, but I don't think we really need it right now. We've got 5 ancient bees right here, and then our draconic bees right there cranking out. And of course, everything else is pretty much the same. Got a load of bees in here and whatnot. But for now, what we're actually going to be doing is trying to get Allthemodium bees, which I think is going to be super easy. I was thinking that I had to go because if you look right here, to acquire this bee, look up the crafting recipe for the egg. And at first, I didn't see this. So I was like, okay, so we need the Allthemodium bee egg, right? Which requires an ancient bee egg, which is why I made so many of these ancient bees, because I thought I had to squish them, get the egg, make that molten Allthemodium thing, all that good stuff. No, you know what we have to do? I'll show you what we have to do. I'm going to throw down the skeletal bee that I got earlier from our setup. I'm going to turn it into a withered bee, and I'm going to grab it. I'm going to bring it over here. I'm going to pull these, ghostly bees out of here. I'm going to throw an ancient bee and a withered bee in there. And I'm just going to give it some rose bushes. And, well, watch the magic happen. Allthemodium bees. Just like that. Just being pumped over into our storage. You're kidding me. It was that easy? Are you serious? Well, I guess now's the time to actually get our Allthemodium bees set up. I'm genuinely mind blown. You can probably tell how easy that was. I really thought that they had made it harder to get the Allthemodium bees, but that was insanely easy. And Vibranium's just as easy. Like, I don't even think we need Vibranium to get the Vibranium bee. Now, we'll need Vibranium to actually be able to produce it, so we'll have to get some, but like, we can have that automated today. I mean, we just have to go get some Vibranium, which I don't feel like doing right now. We're not going to do that this episode, but I'm just saying we could. And then let's see, what's all about for Unobtainium? Unobtainium's not that bad either, really. Now, of course, these bees, the productivity is not that high on them. The combs, they don't turn into much, I don't think. They have a slim chance of, giving you some nuggets. So you don't get that much out of them, but still, it's like, you're kidding me. That's so easy. So, guys, as we come to a close on today's episode, I want to talk to y'all about something. I feel like this playthrough has kind of hit the same point that I seem to hit with all my playthroughs, where while I still enjoy it, I'm just not really sure quite where to take it. And I think that stems a little bit from the fact that I don't think that I want to strive for the All the Mods star, because there's certain mods that I just really have no desire to play with. Just some that I just don't think that I would enjoy, and just a lot of grind that I don't know that I want to quite go through for the goal that you're trying to achieve. But also the fact that I feel like sometimes I tend to play the game a little too efficiently, and I don't really know how to describe it other than that, but like I feel like sometimes I forget to stop and just enjoy what I'm playing, you know? I feel like I'm always trying to make the perfect video, and then that kind of leads to kind of the burnout that I'm having right now. So, and I wouldn't even say burnout that I'm having right now, but burnout that I can feel coming, if that makes any sense. But that being said, I wanted to ask how y'all feel about me not finishing mod packs. I know it's not great for channel growth if I don't finish packs, but I'm not seriously sweating that. I really want to know how those of you that have been around for a while, or even those of you that are coming to the channel, that are new to the channel, how you feel about me not finishing mod packs and just kind of playing to the point that I feel like I've had my fun and moving to the next experience. So if y'all have any suggestions for packs that I could try, and maybe some that y'all have tried and not lost focus the way that I tend to, or just something that would kind of help me not lose focus like that, that would be awesome. I would love to play other mod packs or other games even, if y'all have some suggestions that you think I may enjoy. I don't know that I'm quite ready to end all the mods, but I know that I'm likely not going to get star, so I figured I'd at least mention that to y'all. But that being said, I appreciate all of you. I appreciate those of you that have stuck around and become part of my community, and I hope that everyone has a wonderful day. Be sure to subscribe, join the Discord, join the server, and as always, take care. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out, y'all.